I think we're going to keep this pre-match analysis as short and sweet as we can, to be honest. I think everyone wants to tune in. I agree. RAISY and Cypher about to go head-to-head for our first featured map of the day. My name is Ketchup, joined by ZSX, but this time round, for the featured matchups, we're going to bring in a wonderful third, DJ Wheat. Hello.
DJ Salty.
Yeah, wow.
We talked about it a little bit.
Didn't even get a chance to say a word. Just like came out swinging from the corner. ZSX. What's up, gentlemen? Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm only going to talk to Ketchup during this cast, so it's going to be pretty awkward in the second game when ZSX and I are playing. No, I'm just kidding. Good games today. Some interesting results, but yes, I'm super excited for both the featured matches. We've got both EU regions, both tied in the rankings, and will definitely shift things up and down. But Cypher versus RAISY, I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
It's a clash of titans. There's no other way to put it. Two phenomenal players that just continue to impress and recently always look really good. And RAISY and Cypher, they go head to head. You kind of know you're in for a real explosive exchange. I'm super curious over the picks and bans because I want to see how that's being reflected as well. But two players that are absolutely on that top of their game. The people are excited for it. I'm sure there's plenty of fans either side, and this is just the first of two tales, because after this featured matchup we have one that's just as big. And it's kind of like what you said though, Dan, where the players that we have here could very well end up making the top four anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the two biggest show matches, featured matches we could have had in EU. I mean, Venga's the only one you would put up there to be in top four, so it really plays out a huge role in how these final four sit up in the final rankings.
I mean, the other thing that's really funny about this is we've got Cypher RAISY as the first matchup. Technically, they are tied in the number 9 rank. Now, you can't just look at that and be like, oh, wow, they're both... It's like not the case. They've only played one match. They both have gone 2-1 in their maps, Cypher versus CNZ and RAISY versus Sparty. So this is kind of, a pretty significant match, as these guys are not going to end the season at the number 9 rank. So this is the only time that you would ever see this during the stage 3.
Yeah, and they're probably both a little bit rusty. I know RAISY's moved back to Hungary, different setup, different conditions, and they both had some time off after a very draining finals, particularly obviously Cypher losing out and coming second. So they're edging their way back into full form, and this is a match where you're going to need to find your stride quickly, otherwise you could be taken away before you know it.
I'm always, when it comes to RAISY, looking at those picks and bans. Sometimes it just feels like the guy's always got something up his sleeve. Against anyone, the absolute most insane matches that you come up with. Let's have a look at the picks and bans and see if that's going to be the same today, or whether we get a little bit more traditional, as Clutch is taken away without hesitation, which is a very common RAISY ban. But the Sorlag being taken away from Cypher, I agree with that one also. And Molten Falls, we get to see some Slash again.
Nice. I'm enjoying these Slash and Nixies coming back into the meta, mixing it up. We just haven't seen them for so long. But as you say, I think as a player, you're always going to breathe a huge sigh of relief if you get the ban on the Clutch straight up, not having to face that anymore. Nothing too unusual coming out on Keep. Maybe onto Veil. Cypher first picks Galena, which he always does if he's given the chance. He does love that champion. But the Clutch, as we know, incredibly strong. Actually favouring that over the Scale Bearer. I'm guessing to play a bit of a slower game using the Pineapples. And then we end up on Molten Falls. Rarely see a Visor, but usually it's RAISY that picks it. And he does here. And the Slash, I don't know if he expected that, but there it is.
That's our second Slash on Molten Falls matchup, right? Naso? Is that
also played it as well, I played it really well.
Yeah. Really interesting. I like the Keel pick on Veil up against Galena. I mean, we've seen this matchup before. So, either way, just looking at this is pretty interesting. I feel like we kept kind of the strong advantages that you can just give to your opponent in the picks and bans. We've seen it time and time again. RAISY getting that clutch, and then it's kind of the mountain of cards falling at that point, or the house of cards. So I think this one is pretty good. I'm also excited to see that Molten match.
Well, on that note, we don't have much longer to wait, because we're about to jump into our first map. And Dan, cheers so far, mate. We'll say goodbye to you for now. We'll bring you back at the end, and then we'll rotate out.
Go sit in the corner 5 minutes. Think about what you've done, Dan. No, I'm just kidding.
a hat with Scale Bearer on it. Scale Bearer's #1 fan, the chairman of the Scale Bearer fan club.
Dan, I have just for you, I have kept the scale doll nearby all the time. Just so we're working on our relationship here.
You should make him a little hat.
I should. Catch up. Good to be back here on week 4 in stage 3. Certainly every single week we have seen some just absolutely phenomenal games, and I expect that our next 2 featured matches are also going to be very interesting. Cypher coming off of a very good performance in the stage 2 finals, looking to sort of solidify it, right? That spot and kind of that momentum from the stage 2 finals. But RAISY, he's been so consistent over the last 3 stages here in season 2. So I expect this one to be a banger.
And we don't have a lot of time left before we begin, because I can see, you can't see it because I've got that behind the scenes. We can see Corrupted Keep is being loaded into. So in a few seconds, we'll be kickstarting this. I'd want to talk about predictions, but we could be talking about that for ages. I'm sure chat is way ahead of us on that front. I haven't got the chat room open on my other monitor yet.
I'll tell you what it is. It's Cypher 38 and RAISY 62. So in map number 1, the RAISY fans are making themselves heard, and RAISY's got the predictions lead right now.
Thank you for letting me know, because I actually thought maybe it would be a little bit more even. We know Cypher has plenty of fans out there, but we're starting things off, checking things out from Cypher's point of view. And the volatile nature of Corrupted Keep. It's such a fast map that can trade over and over, but the opening damage will be dished out considerably by RAISY. The aggressive orb gets used as a bit of a counter, but the LG is fantastic, and already RAISY gets a frag on the board.
I mean, that was just kind of an explosive start. Both players wanting to commit to those battles. I love the dodge with the orb from the peeker. Of course, RAISY did get the better of that one for that first frag, but they came out swinging, just like ZSX this morning. 1-0 now. RAISY in the lead here in the first minute, and I hope the pace catch-up of this keeps up the entire match.
It almost feels like with these 2 players behind the wheel, you're guaranteed to get it. I don't think anyone's going to be letting up. 1 minute already down. However, what has been established is that rotation of the items, especially on this map, and especially with Strog. That crouch slide lets you just slide in and out and take what you want, but it looks like RAISY was content to let that one go. Get some bonus damage on Cypher, remove any of the armor that could exist, or as much as you can, as now heavy is going to be the next objective. But RAISY looking to put a significant delay on them. And it took him a good 10 seconds to pick it up. I mean, there's an obvious strategy here,
Yeah, and I mean, even let Cypher kind of see it, sit there for a little bit, and then waited even longer beyond that. So absolutely, RAISY's got Cypher kind of trapped in the back red room. He's going to easily pick up that Mega, and big fight here. Although Cypher kind of got the best with that LG, RAISY with a great rocket trying to finish up with that LG. The orb comes out, but into the wall, the machine gun to clean it up, and RAISY now up 0-2.
Here's my theory. Do you want to know why I think he let Cypher see it get taken, but then he waited a couple of seconds to take it when Cypher had gone? He wanted Cypher to think he had timing, and that dire orb was used about 3 seconds too early. That is RAISY showing the next level of how cued into Quake he is. However, the return damage from Cypher is insane. Really good.
I'm actually surprised. It looked like RAISY had all the hits on that one, but as you mentioned, Cypher has definitely cleaned it up quite nice there. Although, going into the rocket room now, almost manages to clean up with that LG, but there's the machine gun. Cypher on the board, and I'm not surprised considering how much damage he did at the top of the statue. That looked like it was bound to be a frag eventually.
And by the time RAISY saw there were no lights to pick up near heavy machine gun, it was too late. However, RAISY keeping control over this heavy pretty much all map long has meant that in these kind of exchanges, he's had the upper hand. He can afford to take more damage. A lovely use of the dire orb to just bypass the peeker and get some of that bonus range, kind of poke damage almost, if you will. heavy position belongs to Cypher. It's rare that you're on Corrupted Keep and you see it be 3 minutes, only 3 frags have gone down.
Nice.
Makes that 4 as Cypher picks up another.
Yeah, I really like the Diorb kind of answer to Peeker, you know? I mean, if the Diorb can get past that Peeker offense, then, you know, you could have a completely vulnerable RAISY just sitting there. And although it hasn't exactly happened in that way, you can kind of see what Cypher is thinking about here. And either way, oh my gosh, the LG from RAISY does pick it up. I thought Cypher was going to be able to pick up his 3rd frag, but we are still so close here in the early moments of these games. Just a lot of back and forth. Big shotgun blast. The 2nd one on the follow-up. Cypher is going to back out of there. RAISY on the hunt, though. LG coming out yet again and trapped in that doorway just a little bit. That's going to be a heavy for him as well. Cypher now 2 frag lead. Is this where he starts to run away?
Looking at where Cypher has to retreat. That rocket, though, is his ticket to avoiding the snowball effect. As it forces RAISY to retreat, Cypher doesn't be super aggressive just yet, although the range damage is fantastic. And I love it, the perfect call out. He knows he's going to take the light armor. Hook, line, and sinker. He bought it.
Yeah, I mean, Cypher's playing a great game. RAISY also just on top of it. These two, their aim is just impeccable. Ketchup, it's just incredible to see the LG coming out. And that one, another kind of exchange there with the Peeker and the Dire Orb coming out. And neither of them fail. But look at that direct rocket right down the throat of RAISY to tie this game back up at the 5-minute point. 4-4, coming in very aggressive. But at the trade, it looked like the shotgun blast was going to clean him up. But the rocket hits as well. 5-5, we're tied again.
I don't know if Spectator has Gibbs enabled, but that leg did a thoroughly impressive spin mid-air. It was almost going to take off and go to the moon, but that's now going to be 5 frags each. We're starting to up the pace a little bit here. But Cypher, very much not having the tools to compete with that fight. A lovely direct rocket on the Peeker. And if that missed, I think he might have been toast.
Ooh, Cypher taking the bad end of some of these rockets here that are coming out. A couple of really unlucky bounces, and RAISY, he knew he did some good damage. Kept on that pressure on Cypher and was able to clean up for that 6th frag. So now just kind of trying to re-up on all of his weapons, and you can just see how movement is definitely helping out RAISY now. He actually moves up quite a bit and then drops down to grab that Mega. But we see so many fight from the bottom of that ramp and of the statue. And also, you know, one thing you just gotta say, just seeing how much machine gun, and we often do here on Keep, right? But the machine gun has been crucial in this particular game.
In certain angles where you otherwise wouldn't expect it to do as much damage as it is. Just squeezing out every ounce of optimization that we can. And speaking of which, the aggressive push, not even an opportunity to use the orb. That's a bad time to lose it, though, because 40 seconds, that's going to be gone for. As RAISY takes 2 frags, a clean pickup. However, even more. This LG from RAISY is straight up unreasonable.
I mean, kids, this is why you look both ways before you cross the street. Like, Cypher had looked to the left and did not look to his right, and that's exactly where RAISY was. Not only did he get that frag catch-up, but then got the follow-up, and suddenly a 3-frag lead is actually the largest lead that we've seen from RAISY here. But that completely clean frag inside the rocket room might be the key to victory here. We still have 3 minutes. There's still a ton of time, but unfortunately that one mistake ended up costing Cypher 2 frags.
This is just optimized play from RAISY, doing as much damage as you can to Cypher before you back up and take the heavy. On the way, adding insult to the injury, being able to take the light armor as well as the heavy. Cypher has almost nothing to lick his wounds, and he is tender at death's door and an easy pickup. And this is the critical moment for me. That armor is the only armor we're likely to see Cypher take in some time if RAISY keeps his stack high. And it's a scary position because Cypher has very little to bring himself back up. He's only just got some of the extra weapons. Oh, that tribal makes things even worse.
and there it is. Another frag to make it. I mean, so many so quick. Almost 4 frags in less than 2 minutes, and all kind of stemming from that mistake. Diorb does come out, but it doesn't matter. The machine gun is so accurate here on RAISY's side. He tries to do a little trick jump up the side. He completely misses it. It was like you saw nothing. Still ended up getting the frag, and suddenly RAISY just runs away with this one. 2 minutes left to go, but RAISY did not want the game to be as close as it was, and he has critically closed that gap.
And he's going to be even braver making that push, because once more, keeping his rotation, having that light armor in mind, he knows this one's about to spawn as well. RAISY has just controlled this map with an iron fist for the last kind of 3 minutes or so. Cypher finally picks it up, but how hard he has to work just to get that one frag, and how weak he is with a refrag more than a possibility. Push in as the heavy spawns. Gets damage, but the heavy will belong to RAISY, and it's crazy how back and forth that was Wheat, but then the moment Control got locked into that capacity, it was over.
I mean, usually if Cypher's in a game and we start talking about the lightning gun, we're talking about Cypher, but this is all about RAISY. His LG has been impeccable in this particular matchup. All the right times. I mean, heavy machine gun, all of his hit scan has just been absolutely great.
Oh
no! Almost got the gauntlet in that RAISY style, but it does not come out, and RAISY might have a few more chances. RAISY does manage to get that kill with the heavy machine gun there, but in the last 20 seconds, 17-6. It's going to be somewhere around that final score. We might see one more frag out here, but what started off so close catch up ended up being quite a distance here, unfortunately, for Cypher.
In almost the blink of an eye, it seems. That first map is going to go 17-8. When you looked at the first half of this map, you would never have guessed that it ended up kind of just spiraling out the way it did. It was even for most of it. And then, like I said, it was that one moment we kind of have the clean pickup right near where Heavy spawned, where that light was kind of factored into the rotation that RAISY was making, and then Cypher was just kept behind on the edge of a very, very short string for about 3 minutes. That was locked in, and all the while it's frag after frag after frag. And to give Cypher his credit, you know, he's able to kind of stay in the fight for as long as he can. I imagine it's almost impossible when RAISY has that much of a lock and he's hitting the damage that he's hitting, and there's just nothing for you to pick up. That's just the perfect game of Quake being played, where your opponent has nothing to work with.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things we saw in that matchup. You know, I liked how Cypher is kind of using the Diorb to bypass the Peeker. That only worked a couple of times, though, before RAISY was kind of figuring out. And, you know, I'm constantly kind of blown away here on Keep how often we get some of those surprise rockets that happen in the middle level, like the one that RAISY got against Cypher. It can completely change the course of the game, because you don't usually get good bounces if you get tagged with something like that. We've seen it happen in the Red Room. We've seen it happen where it happened to Cypher. And then we've also seen it happen in the rocket launcher room itself. But that little sneak up, the perfect rocket bounce, sometimes I can completely turn the tides on Keep.
But we go from one small map to another. So it's Corrupted Keep all the way into Vale of Nath. And that is going to bring forward what was a rather instant Galena pick from Cypher, which makes sense. One of his best champions by far, going up against the Keel. So RAISY with the hand of any champion is dangerous, but Keel on this map has always proven, for a couple of years now, to just be a rock-solid pick. He's got the beef, he has... Mobility is not going to be as much of I think, an ace in the hole for large champions and other maps, because it's just such a small corridor-heavy map that the grenades are insanely powerful.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's just going to come down to totem management, right? How much is RAISY letting Cypher keep those totems up on a map like this? A lot of times we see the Galena like to, you know, hide things in the back there by the rail, but we've seen a number of different ways in which it is played. I think the Keel pick for RAISY also just kind of allows him to get a little up close and personal. We all know that RAISY kind of enjoys doing that. I mean, the king of gauntlet kills, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
it kind of factors into the aggressive plays. And RAISY, one of the most in-your-face players the scene has in general. With the ranged game, trying to create some distance there. Unfortunately, a little bit of a fumble of some sorts with Cypher. Keeps himself alive thanks to a totem from 1 HP to barely standing, but still alive. That was a scary way to begin the map. Here's the armor being picked up. RAISY cannot return fire. And Cypher, that is one of the most ridiculous totem saves I've seen in a long time. From 1 HP to what?
Yeah, it's from 1 HP to like a reasonable stack. That is exactly what happened. And RAISY is going to go back and watch that tape and not be super happy about that. But we'll have to see kind of how this is going to play out. Cypher actually dropping down, has an idea where RAISY is, gets a huge bead of LG on him. A lot of damage dished out with none in return. And that is going to be a huge advantage as now we've got Cypher picking up that Mega. And through that little 1 HP totem heal, you know, he did manage to get that light, managed to get the Mega, and then waiting for RAISY to rocket jump up to the top. Cypher without an armor stack right now, but kind of negated that heavy pickup.
Gets a good call out on RAISY. There's someone that you know is going to pump out that damage when necessary. RAISY's your man. And we're just setting up even more. Cypher, happy to kind of slow the pace down a little bit. No need to force yourself into Keel, especially when he has a stack that massive. The Mega will be on the side of Keel as well. Totem is ready to go, but quite low on rockets. But if one of them does 100 damage, we'll take those.
Oh, yeah, all day. And I kind of wonder if there's going to be a slowdown just to maybe try to get some of those long-range rail shots, right? Kind of mix it up a little bit. Actually, rocket jump up to the top. Totem's going to come out. Ooh, hit in the face with a grenade, but bounce with a rocket into the rail and the trade. So much happened there in that exchange, but what it really does is just puts another frag for both on the board. Cypher still has that 1 frag lead. With 2 minutes into the game, that quick reset, direct rocket. Oh, almost hit a second one there, but didn't happen. And I like the pace of this game so far, Ketchup.
The fact that Cypher even turned that into a trade was thoroughly impressive. But then the aggressive play from RAISY. I like Cypher kind of shooting the doors fresh off spawn. You kind of just need that information, right? Open him up and see if he's sitting around for you.
Man, that aggression around the teleporter that we saw in that last frag. Gonna tie it up right here. We're gonna have a fight over this heavy. A little sneak in to grab it is Cypher. Now he's gonna go full speed ahead with those rockets. Follows up with the LG 3-2, and the tables turn yet again. Cypher unfortunately missing that rail. That would have been big right off of the spawn.
Yeah, it made that next fight a lot more intense than it otherwise should have been, because RAISY's going to push forward, confident that he has stack to contest, and using it. Lovely rail, though, to make the Mega not as critical as it could be. Now, unfortunately, ammo is not on his side. No rockets, no cells. He gets the frag anyway with the only weapon that he had left. Cypher the god, you madman.
And is still, well, was trying real hard, Ketchup, to stay alive. Unfortunately, he knew that he was near death, and that was going to be the end of that one. So Cypher still with the lead here, but a very action-packed game as neither player really wanting to take a defensive or an offensive stance. So it's just like non-stop fighting here. And the totem comes down in preparation for that heavy. Oh, misses the rocket jump. I don't actually know if he fired there.
I know.
It's weird on my
Almost
screen.
felt like a bit of a... whether your mouse just didn't line up or whether you missed it, who knows? In the heat of the moment, anything can happen. Our stream didn't quite see that because we're watching it through RAISY's point of view, but either way, Cypher with an impressive lead and a decent chunk of damage, but for RAISY's sake, able to get in and out with the Mega, and is that actually going to allow him to pick this up? Cypher has no choice but to put himself out of position of heavy. But he heals himself up.
A free pickup for RAISY, but the rail coming out from Cypher. And Cypher's rail has absolutely been on fire here in this matchup so far. That's why he's very, very low. He's got to be very careful. As RAISY looking for his opponent, wondering where he is at, but perfectly timed to go over and grab that Mega. And things definitely slowing down because I think that rail is heating up. See what RAISY's going to do here. He's peeking with his rail as well. Knows his opponent was down below. and the next fight would be at the Mega.
Now, RAISY did hear that light armor being taken. Gave him a little bit of information over what his next push should be. Preemptive totem just to try and give himself a bit of stack before Mega spawns. I like this play from RAISY. You know that Galena, sorry, hiccups at the worst time. You know that Galena is nowhere to be seen, right? So she's not going to be fighting towards Mega. And RAISY goes, right, well, I'm going to keep this up then. I'm going to do damage, and then I'm going to back out and take the Mega. In this case, he still has a Mega to fall back on. And there we go. Just like that, he has it. Can he get heavy as well? Just in time!
Oh, huge pickup there. He stole both of them away, but look at the rails coming out from Cypher again, and Cypher somehow manages to make that a 2-frag game. It was unfortunate there for RAISY, and the perfect pickup there by Cypher.
It was a real mishap because he held on to a rail angle but just didn't have any ammo. So it was damage he can't contest, kind of like that. Missing the shots of that nature. Starting shotgun's all it's going to be. Trying to get the damage, but there's the totem. Cursed.
I love those. Gotta love them. And the rails continuing to come out from both sides, but Cypher taking a fairly big commanding lead here. 4 frags with less than 3.5 minutes left to go. You know, surprised to see some of the battles that these two are having. The ones that are on the teleporter near that heavy, but it's certainly making for an exciting game as Cypher now picking up that Mega, tried to make his way over through the underground to that heavy, but doesn't get there. So they trade the major items and go into their respective corners to come back out swinging.
Another battle taking place towards this Mega. Whether it is the primary objective remains to be seen, but the grenades able to cause some knock-up, but a bit of a rocket mishap. Some self-damage, and then the finishing touches by Cypher, who is in perfect position to take this map. However, Heavy goes into his favor. Gets some close-range damage, as good as it's going to get, only having a starting shotgun and not being able to get perfect spread. RAISY pushing in on spawn with any weapon he can spawn with. The problem is he needs more than that because Cypher is bringing a lot more options to this fight. RAISY, he is only going to be predictable, in those fights. Apparently I can't speak today. Carry me, wheat. Help.
That's a good... yeah, I mean, Cypher, you know, really not only pulling ahead here, but what I'm noticing is that RAISY's keel hasn't really brought that much to this matchup, right? Grenades, there's been a couple of hits here and there, but he really hasn't had that opportunity to really get... Now, here it is right now. He just got the rail. Now he can kind of get in his... Whoa, righty then. And
even
then
if he landed that rail, though, even if he landed that rail, he probably would have died just the same way. Oh, so aggressive, and this will be a done deal for sure. If this map wasn't over before, RAISY's in that point now where there's no time. He has got to push in. It's all he can do given the circumstances, and allows Cypher to keep that muscle memory. Maybe a couple of highlight reel moments, perhaps.
Yep. I
know that Cypher is a player that really likes to use keels, so you know there was a potential that... Another rail to come forward. A dominant showing in this second map, which will make it 1-1. And you know what? I'm here for it, Wheat, because it brings the importance of that final map. A final map of which we get to see Slash for another time.
Yeah, on Molten, that should be a good one as well, but Cypher has pretty much sealed the deal on this one. RAISY with only 6 frags to Cypher's 13. And let's take a quick look at, you know, some of the accuracies here. Cypher definitely with the better lightning gun, doing almost 1,700 points of damage to the 600 points of damage to RAISY, and then a 60% rail that we have just seen time and time again, including the one rail in which it was his only weapon and he landed 4 in a row. And in the final minute, it's just left there for RAISY to contemplate what he has got to do in this next matchup. But of course, Cypher in a similar situation as it ultimately becomes a best of 1 on Molten.
I would have it no other way.
Yep.
When Titans clash, you can expect this kind of exchange. RAISY does pick up a couple of nice frags near the end here, but the work is done. Cypher will be taking this map, keeping things nice and fresh. Who gets the last frag? At this rate, it will be RAISY. And just like that, folks, we are going into the deciding map now, not just a third map to figure out who gets some money and maybe some points. You know, this is all about who walks away with the win. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, and Slash versus Visor is going to be an interesting one. Just taking a quick look at that. Cypher almost eclipsing 6,000 damage in that matchup. RAISY's 4,500. As I mentioned, Keel's a pretty big target, and the grenades really didn't do as much as I think RAISY would have liked them to. It seemed to be no problem there for the Galena of Cypher. Not only was his aim on, Cypher's got, he's got some passion behind it himself going into this final game. All brain.
And I gotta be honest, we have got to rewind that 10 minutes and go back to that first frag where Cypher at the start of the map, 1 HP, saves himself with a totem, somehow gets all the items, gets the first frag, and it's just like, come on, dude. You almost feel like only Cypher does that kind of stuff. He just has these ridiculous moments of clutch being put forward. There's a reason that so many people consider Cypher like one of the absolute greatest of all time, because like, how does he come back from that? Like 1 HP. It sounds almost made up, doesn't it?
It does. It was, you couldn't script something quite like that. It would be very difficult. And, you know, this third map, as we go into it, you saw the passion, the emotion on Cypher's face. He's got to kind of bring it down to restart this. But even chat is saying, I know we mentioned it, you know, this is Cypher on Slash for the final game, a movement that he absolutely loves. It's going to be really interesting to see RAISY on the Visor. You see if he'll use that, piercing sight to his advantage. But this should, I think that this one is also going to be as action-packed as the last two. I didn't expect Veil to be as chaotic as it was, but I think, as you pointed out, Ketchup, with that 1 totem HP and whatever happened there at the beginning, that was just a perfect push forward to get that sort of tone and momentum in that matchup.
I get really nostalgic looking at Cypher play Slash, and I kind of felt the same way with Galena before she became like really popular, because it just reminds me of when Duel was starting to be a thing, you know, in Quake Champions, which, don't crucify me, I mean in Quake Champions because of the round based, that when you look at champions back when the game first came out that really weren't very popular in the round-based 1v1. So you had Scale Bearer, just didn't get picked much. Galena rarely picked. Slash, people like to play her, but she just wasn't considered that meta. But Cypher was absolutely one of the first players that was really pioneering this champion. And that was, you know, about 4 years ago at this point, if I've got my math right. Time is a hard thing to factor in when you've been in lockdown for 2 years. But watching the Slash come forward, he still puts forward this amazing display, is just like, we're full circle, you know, 4 years later, and it's a Slash that you never seen a Slash of this caliber until people start to really bring out their execution and the grind on maps where she can really work. Let's go. The final map, Cypher and RAISY. Who's going to take the win today?
Oh, I'm excited to find out, Ketchup, as we see Cypher get that spawn over on the heavy side. Means he's got a rail and he'll grab the LG, and then he makes his way back. So obviously missing one of the key points of the triangle, and that's a rocket launcher. But let's see what he can do here, as it looks like RAISY's kind of set up over in the back area, waiting for an opportunity. Great flick rail coming out from Cypher, and says, you cannot hide from me, despite the fact that you are the champ that can see through walls. And another heavy pickup, and it looks like Cypher's going to make his way over to the Mega and see if he can make something happen here.
The one factor at play here could have been that RAISY didn't use the piercing sight at the start of the map, which is normally very common. But if you get rocket launcher and LG side, if you know your opponent is going to put distance between you, the piercing sight is not going to give you that many opportunities. Because if you're trying to spring a trap and catch them around a corner, you can just listen to them. Whereas now, piercing sight used, it looks like now, just to get RAISY the weaponry so he can compete. That piercing sight got him a rail, and I think right now he'll consider it worth it. But here comes a surprise attack from Cypher. A bonus rail, and just like that, he's on rail's side. I miss watching Slash on this map, I'm going to be honest.
No, I'm with you, and especially on the hands of Cypher and kind of what he's doing here. As the rail does come out this time, RAISY hitting that one. Cypher not taking that shot, trying to control this light armor, and he will pick up yet another heavy. Might have the opportunity to make over here to the Mega. Might not be able to grab it, but at least set himself up for an assault. No, RAISY just too smart. Definitely using his brain on that one. Went in through the bottom, out through the bottom, and just really not giving Cypher an opportunity to make that shot. So very, very nicely done, despite the fact that Cypher was kind of in a bad position when that Mega spawned.
High ground belongs to RAISY, and so does the stack advantage. An aggressive push, though, from Cypher. Plasma Trail, creating a bit of an obstacle to get through. But if we concede one item, we can at least take the other. And with that light armor to pick up, it's not the end of the world for Cypher. And a couple of rails already pushing forward. RAISY setting up shop, trying to prepare. He has to show so much respect. And this is why I think Visor is going to be a good, I think, contest for this matchup. You know that Cypher is going to run rings around this map. He's going to beat you to every location. He's always going to have an angle. You have to expect it. But you can spring the trap and take him by surprise. But the rail's good. There it is.
Yes, that was such an epic frag. Nicely done. Surprised his opponent. Got the rockets. Ended with the rail. There's some confidence in those shots right there, Ketchup. Definitely some confidence. And now setting up perfectly. Cypher able to control that rail gun. Didn't keep it out of the hands. But another direct rocket. Can't find the rail as the follow-up. And RAISY manages to pick that one up, tying us back up 1-1 as Heavy is up. And now that will be in the hands of RAISY. He might not be able to fight here for this Mega, but a great rocket yet again in the trade, making it 2-2.
How does Cypher find these opportunities? Taken by surprise, the damage is ridiculous, and then out of nowhere, you just blink, and 2 rockets later, we've exchanged the whole thing. A preemptive rocket, a nice shot in a difficult position. Catching it off guard just in case RAISY forces down, and he's just a bonus. Doesn't have to go out of his way to get more LG ammo because RAISY drops it. And a rail to boot. And push forward and focus on the Mega, the next objective. Slash is absolutely going to be able to get it, but that rocket is so good from RAISY to at least stop the momentum and allow the pickup of that major item. There's such a delay between the two of them now. Plasma Trail, full speed ahead. Cypher is in play. An aggressive push from RAISY, and the rocket's great as well. The drop down rail. This is such a back and forth and fresh off spawn. What does Cypher do here?
I feel like they both kind of feel like they've got something to prove here as the rail then comes out. Nice rocket against the doorway. Going to try to follow him with that. Oh, cuts him off from the health bubbles, but still gets rocketed in the face, and RAISY still looking very nice after that one. A full health stack over and the armor stack that he needs. And just slowing it down a little bit has certainly played a big factor in this one. Ketchup also hitting some very nice rails. Is going to try to go in here for that heavy and actually decides to rocket jump up. Gets railed back down, a smackdown, and then goes and grabs it. Another one coming out. And the piercing sight does get popped, allowing RAISY to see exactly where his opponent is. He won't really gain much off of there other than sending his opponent away and knowing exactly where he is to not be surprised. Now another trap outside of the teleporter. Oh, perfect rocket from Cypher. Bounced him up in the corner. As soon as Cypher realized that rocket bounce was in my favor, he followed up with the frag. We're tied again, 4-4.
And clean enough that he can make something happen.
God.
How did he turn that rocket into 100 damage wheat? I cannot believe it.
I don't know. It's wild.
And that wouldn't have happened if not for that clean frag near teleporter to keep the stack high enough to make his presence known. Opening rail, looks for a second. RAISY with a big drop down, the patient rocket, but not enough to finish. Speaking of rails, who's going to get that final kill? The drop down belongs to Cypher again. RAISY tries to push out. He can't. The heavy, he's going to get LG to death.
Oh my God.
This is falling away from him as Cypher continues to just pepper out unreasonable amounts of damage. He has the timing on the Mega. The base stack back up and running. RAISY, piercing sight is gone. He hasn't even picked up a rail yet. He hasn't had the chance. And now the plasma trail, it blocks him off. Finally manages to get a rail, but what's it going to cost him? Is it going to cost another frag? Cypher, the goal is going to be heavy here. We need to keep stack high, but now maybe not. These rail angles have been so good. And RAISY finally does manage to pick one up.
I mean, Ketchup, I'm half expecting that they're just going to only pick up the rail and then go to the middle and just start railing each other back and forth. Nice rocket does come out from Cypher, but so many times they have just postured up and said, let's rail, let's do it. And we get another trade, our second, I think maybe even the third one of the game, 8-6. Cypher up yet again. He's going to come in, but RAISY with the perfect LG to make it 8-7, and this one might be close all the way to the end.
And RAISY getting the best spawn of the two exchanges. He spawns on armor. He spawns on rail, lightning gun, rocket. It's all there because of the fight that just happened. There was very little Cypher could do apart from maybe try and take it away. The damage is fantastic, and the rocket is even better. Cypher, 2 frags in the lead, but for how long, I wonder, as this is absolutely our most competitive map of the day, and it's only fitting that it is the final map of the 2 players. You said it yourself, Wheat. Both these players, they have a message to send to each other. 2 of the absolute best in the business, and you know they want to win today.
Oh, the LG comes out as RAISY jumps across. RAISY now in the danger zone. Rockets being fired as well. A 40, a 45, and a 66. RAISY getting away with his life, but both of his arms just barely holding on. And the missed rail by Cypher. There's the LG, though. As RAISY, I'm not sure, I couldn't see through his view if he intentionally went up that jump pad or it was just a missed jump, but Cypher gets that frag 10-7. Now 2 minutes left, and this is kind of scary here because Cypher can run, and he can run real fast. He's going to hit that beautiful rail from the back as well, and he looks like he does not want to catch up or does not want to let up at all. Ooh. And perfect rocket. Perfect angle, everything about it. 11-7. Cypher really wants to take this game in this match.
And with this kind of champion, he's going to be feeling that momentum all the way to the bank, because right now, these defensive positions of Cypher, in and out thanks to the plasma trail. How does RAISY push forward and have some kind of advantage here? The LG is fantastic.
Wow.
A defensive rail. It's as good as it's going to get here for RAISY, as Cypher 5 frags in the lead and looking to continue. RAISY's only just spawned, so apart from an LG, that really is as good as it's going to get. That missed rail does give an opportunity to punish. The ring out. We're going to have some kind of moment here, but a minute to get 4 frags against Cypher, who's got Slash. He can just run away for the 60 seconds that remain.
Yeah, that's the scary part about the position that RAISY is in, and with Cypher picking that one up, I think it's pretty much out of reach. But it was already going to be tough when you've got Cypher, who not only can run very fast, but has the trail that can use to make it very difficult in order to instigate a chase, and an effective one at that. So in the last 30 seconds, it does look like Cypher is going to be able to pull it off. Whatever emotion, whatever passion he was feeling there in that second game, he carried it into the third catch-up, and he certainly made it work. Don't think RAISY played bad. Cypher played great. I mean, both players gave us an exceptional light show with all the shots that they've been making. But ultimately, in some of that aggression, it was Cypher who came out on top.
And the GGs roll out, respect all round. It's been a good day for Slash fans around the world, because we've seen more Slash today than we normally do. And on the hand of Cypher behind the wheel, that was an absolute masterclass of just how to make her work. And I just thoroughly enjoyed what we saw there. Well played, and he's going to be more than pleased with that outcome. No doubt. Yeah. We'll bring back ZSX. I really want to know what he has to say, especially about that final map. Dude, what a display that was.
Jealous. I was watching it, not casting it. It was really good to see them both back on full form. I thought after the first map it could be quite a quick day for Cypher. He looked frustrated, but to come back into it and to play as well as he did was remarkable. I mean, the rockets from Belarus is something we used to say a long time ago, and it seems, RAISY couldn't go with it. Every time he pushed in, he was met by at least a single 100 rocket and was already at half stacks. And then it was just wipe-up time for Cypher.
Yeah, there is just so much impressive play in all of this, and
dude,
although
look at
I think
rocket, this one.
Which there were so, I mean, the one in the rail room too, where he just like popped him over in the corner, and his tracking was just on point. And you've been there, right? You all know, you just feel like your rockets are just, they are basically magnetized to your opponents. And some of those moments where, you know, bounce rocket throws your opponent over your head, and you just know, like, I just need to turn around exactly 67 degrees and fire a rocket, and boom. And that's what Cypher was doing the entire time. A rough loss for RAISY, but man, we got the best out of that deal, because it was just a really exciting set of 3 games.
He kept it competitive. RAISY's use of Visor there was really good. You could kind of tell that he knows his opponent, right? He knows that he's against Slash, but more importantly, he knows he's against Cypher. And Cypher is going to bring this crazy fast-paced style to the table, which is why there was such defensive angles there, the piercing sight, even at the very beginning, you know, to just secure himself a railgun, because you know what his priorities would be at that point. It's just that once Cypher started to massively up the tempo, you then have to start trying to deal with that. And there's only so much those kind of positional plays can play when you're just getting overwhelmed by a Cypher that's really feeling the heat. You could see that momentum that was in his gameplay. Ooh, I believe we have Cypher available. I've just been pinged, and we should be good to have a bit of a chit chat with the man of the hour. Cypher, how's it going, man? Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have a lot to break down. We could obviously see that there was a lot of kind of passion going into your games in this set, and obviously I'm sure you were well prepared. But let's talk about that final map, and I think more prominently here, the Slash pick. You were able to really make this champion who's not considered the most popular these days in competitive duel, but you kind of just made it look like a non-issue, just gliding around the map and just bringing this absolute A game. How does it kind of feel picking Slash under these conditions? Because you made it really work.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the Visor pick was the key for my counter pick as a Slash, because Visor doesn't have any kind of like active abilities, and if you catch him off guard with the speed, he's really getting a hard time to fight compared to the other champs. So when RAISY picked it on the last map, I countered with the Slash, because I know that it's, or I will pick Clutch, or I will pick Slash, or I will pick something like that. It's gonna be a good pick against Visor.
Awesome.
Hey man, I want to know what you were saying to yourself the entire time. and
I mean, this series?
Yeah.
Man, I don't even, I'm ashamed. I was really mad. I was annoyed. I was exhausted all the time I play against RAISY. I feel it's not that experience I would like to repeat every day, you know. It's really annoying, and I really wanted to win, and my emotions was out of my head. It's really good that we don't have microphones here.
How do you control yourself when you're going through that?
Man, I played better after I started to really getting angry. I started to play better somehow. I don't know how it happened.
Help us understand, Cypher. What is annoying, right? As you as a player, what is the thing that is like annoying you from your perspective that RAISY is doing in game?
I'm afraid we're gonna like go up in this subject. It's just it's really long subject, but overall he's just very fast, furious, and very heavy aim player who is rushing basically almost all the major items. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter like the percentages of the winning fights and stuff like this, and it's really hard to build up the perfect strategy against it. You just need to be like really good on point with your aim and predict few things here and there. But when it's not happening, I'm getting really angry.
Let me ask one more follow-up question then, because I appreciate the answer. I think that's great. You've been playing Quake for a very long time. Is there another player from the past that you could say, like, I used to feel the same way when I played this player because that was kind of a style that they deployed?
Yeah, I think it's more or less evil style, if you remember such player.
Yeah. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
it's really similar, to be honest.
Great.
Well,
hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And it was clearly enough to get the job done as you pulled through with a really good result today. And definitely speak on behalf of the community when we say we enjoyed watching that one, especially the final map. So big congratulations. Can't wait to see more of your games as this is still very much early days. And best of luck with the rest of the stage.
Thank you so much, guys.
See you later.
Take
Bye.
care. Congrats.
Right. We have one more series left to go. What do we think? I tell you what, wait a sec. We'll hold that thought because we're going to go to a break so we can get to that match even faster. We're going to go for a few minutes. When we come back, final featured matchup of the day. Don't you dare go anywhere.